Yes, guys, welcome back to Flat Cap Euro Talk. It is good to be back. It is good to be back. Enjoyed the vacation, every single minute of it. Honestly, Manchester, the whole north of the UK, really treated me very well. I must say, just quickly, Manchester, I love so much that I almost would even consider moving there. Thought it was a spectacular city, especially coming from a much bigger city like New York. It's nice to be in like a bit of a smaller city that still feels fun and also that also was very welcoming and very fun to hang out in. Edinburgh was spectacular, as well as Liverpool, and then to finish it all off in London with that sort of West Ham game, I must say, and I'll be talking about this a lot. What a nerve-wracking game to have as my first ever game. It was like a real high roller sort of pick, but I just want to get into the video. We'll be talking about that all in the Irish Hotspur, of course, but really do appreciate all the well wishes that I have received from you guys in the Flat Cap Army. You're absolute family to me. But in this video, we're going to be breaking down this whole DYBALA kind of rumor. And there has been a subsequent rumor, another rumor involving Memphis Depay, because Memphis Depay might be unsettled over at Barcelona. Xavi is using Aubameyang a lot more. He doesn't seem to maybe like Depay, or perhaps Depay just, given he's, towards maybe the prime of his career, if not kind of the end of his career, you could say at his full height of abilities, he's not really happy with maybe the game time that he might be receiving with Xavi perhaps in the future. So he is rumored to be on the way out. DYBALA has rejected, I believe, contract rumors or contract negotiations with Juventus, which means he's, I think, definitely on the way out and could be signed on a free. So I figured in this video we do who would be better for Spurs, DYBALA or Depay. I'm not going to make my mind up yet. I do kind of have a vague idea. I do have a slight preference of one of them or the other. I'm not going to give it away just yet. So let's break it down, everybody. DYBALA versus Depay. I really do think this is an interesting one. They're very similar positions, very similar type of players as well. So it's actually, I think, a really cool and very fair comparison. As always, everybody, do let me know in the comments which one you think could be better for Spurs. But let's break down the backgrounds just quickly. Their height around the same, 5 feet 9 inches for Depay, 5 feet 10 inches for DYBALA. Both 28 years old. I think Depay is slightly younger by like 5 or 6 months, if I'm not mistaken, born in February. And then DYBALA is born in November. So DYBALA will be turning 29 before Depay does. Right-footed, of course, for Depay, whereas DYBALA is left-footed. They both kind of play up front, and they can play as second strikers, but they can also play as a winger easily, and they can also play as a number 10. Very versatile, which is actually what I really like, and why I think they'd both be great options for Spurs, because they can not only be a backup striker for Harry Kane quite easily, but also play alongside Harry Kane very comfortably, and also even replace either Kulusevski or Sonny in case one of them's out of form or one of them's injured as well. Market value, though, for Depay is 40.5 million pounds, whereas DYBALA is 36 million pounds. Depay's contract expires in 2023, where DYBALA's is up in 2022. So we do know DYBALA would be free, and so when we do make that decision at the end of this video, have to take that into consideration with DYBALA being available on a free. But let's move on quickly. The stats, of course, got to break down the stats here. In terms of goals, I would say this is all from this season, just from FB Ref. This is all this season, 2021-22 season, comparing them against all forwards in their position in their respective leagues. So Depay, this is comparing him against all La Liga forwards, where DYBALA, it's comparing him against all Serie A forwards. So far, Depay's actually scored more goals than DYBALA, and has also not been playing as much recently, and really was spearheading that Barcelona team during the Koeman days. And I think that's what really impressed me about Depay, was he really was carrying this team, I feel like, and gives me a good sign that I feel like he could do something similar for a team like Spurs when needed. 2 assists. I would say in DYBALA's case, definitely showing a bit more creative numbers so far this season, but key passes, this is going to be interesting. 2.31 for Depay per 90, whereas DYBALA is playing 1.80. Shot creating actions, they're both really high up there. DYBALA with 4.73 shot creating actions per 90 is absurd. Getting anywhere close to 5 is ridiculous when you have to consider that. But I would say in Depay's case, you would argue again with those days under Koeman where like they really weren't generating many chances and they just weren't that great of a team to watch, still was creating close to 4 shot creating actions per 90, which I think is impressive. But DYBALA is just ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Players dribble pass also close again, but Depay, I would say, is much better at taking on somebody, at least from the seeing eye test. I would say Depay, I think, is a bit more electric, a bit more kind of dynamic than DYBALA is. But DYBALA, a bit more kind of, kind of creative, a bit shakier, and, can kind of be a bit more unpredictable. But Depay, if you're looking for somebody just to skin a man, I would say Depay definitely is better. Carries into the penalty area. I think that shows that as well, kind of what I'm talking about. Someone who's a bit more dynamic, a bit more direct. Depay with 2 carries into the penalty area per 90, where DYBALA is struggling to get one. So that again maybe shows different types of players, and maybe DYBALA, I would say, outside the box, like, standing outside the 18, a bit more threatening than maybe than Depay would be, where Depay just seems to carry it into the box, where DYBALA might be really good outside the 18. So two different players in that regard. I do apologize if I mix their names up. The two Ds, it's quite confusing. Their best seasons, I figured I'd compare. In the case of Depay, his best season that I could really find was 2017-18. I think his 2019-20 season was also quite good, at least in terms of league goals. Really high up there. I think he had like something like 22 league goals or something like that. But I decided to go with this one just because it was across more competition. So 19 goals and 13 assists in Liga with Lyon, 3 goals and 3 assists in the Europa League. I believe that was over a 10-game period. So you could say that wasn't great, but still was able to turn them out. The Coupe de la Ligue did not get anything in the Coupe de France. Got 1 assist. So that made it in that 2017-18 season, 22 goals and 17 assists, so 39 goal contributions in that season. DYBALA's best season was in 2019-20, so a bit more recent, you could say. 11 goals and 6 assists, 3 goals and 3 assists in the Champions League, which I think is actually quite quality. The Coppa Italia, 2 goals and 1 assist, and then 1 goal in the Super Coppa, which turned out to be 17 goals and 10 assists. If I did do my math there correctly, I believe actually, I think I did do my math there correctly. So you would say, like, in terms of total goal contributions, Depay, at least his best season is absurd and much better than you would say than DYBALA's. But maybe the comparison of the leagues also as well. DYBALA always kind of struggling with injuries, maybe doesn't get as many opportunities to get as high of numbers as maybe Depay would have. I would say also as well the Serie A is a much tougher league in order to churn out the numbers that DYBALA did, whereas Depay in Liga, with Lyon being the main man, he was the main man there. You do expect him really to get these sort of numbers, but I think it must be said that Depay has had, maybe at least in terms of their whole career, has had maybe the best of seasons. What this does tell me, though, especially going back to these sort of stats again, Depay, you could say, is someone that's a bit more direct. If you're looking for goals, I would say, if you're looking for somebody to just create something out of nothing, bring somebody on to create something, I would say the numbers and the underlying stats here might be showing that Depay, let's say in a 20-minute, 30-minute period when you're desperate for something, could probably bring something a bit more quickly than maybe someone like DYBALA would. At the same time, though, like what you're seeing with DYBALA is definitely more assists, definitely more creative ability. So if we're looking for somebody, to feed Harry Kane, to feed Sonny, DYBALA would certainly be that player and probably be better at it than Depay. And again, if you're looking for a backup striker, I don't know, maybe the goals, if that's what you just want, Depay is definitely making a case for himself there. So who is better for Spurs? This is crazy, and I'm probably going to get slammed in the comments for this. I think Depay is actually better for Spurs. Personally, my own seeing eye test, I just like Depay more. I've always kind of really respected the guy. I think he's, had that really unfortunate situation with Manchester United with a lot of players that, are really good players nowadays that just, really fell out with them. I would say Angel Di Maria is a classic example of an unbelievable player that just didn't work out at United. You could say the same thing with Depay. Maybe had some off the field issues. It was a long time ago, but I really think has matured into an unbelievable player. He's so dynamic. He's so quick, gets you goals, can hit free kicks, can also be able to, take on a man, can run in behind, is just so clever at times as well. He's so intelligent on the ball and also a bit stronger, maybe has more, robust sort of physicality maybe for the Premier League, whereas maybe DYBALA just relies on his sheer brilliance and genius in order to get by players. I would say Depay maybe has a bit more of this physical attributes that maybe you need for the Premier League. Their stats are both ridiculous. I'd be happy to take both. Of course, with DYBALA being on a free, it's probably more likely that we would go after him, especially former Juventus player. It really does make a lot of sense that maybe Spurs would really make a good bid for the guy, especially with Antonio Conte. But if I really had the choice, if it were me at the end of the day, I would actually go for Depay because I do think he might be a better backup striker, as well as, could just substitute for others across the forward line a bit more effectively than DYBALA. But do let me know, everybody, in the comments what you think is better for Spurs. I personally am going for Depay here. I could see every reason for DYBALA, especially since it would be more of a free transfer. In the case of Depay, though, let's say Barcelona do just want to get rid of him. Maybe 20 million, for Depay could actually be a good move, I would say, because you might be paying around the same the same amount for like, a DYBALA free contract. A DYBALA free contract could end up totaling to around 20, 25 million over maybe the course of a few seasons, given the wages, where maybe Depay would accept something a bit less in order to play a bit more. I'm not sure. You could then make cases financially that just DYBALA is a better choice, but do let me know in the comments. As always, everybody, do hit that like button, do hit that subscribe button if you are new. And as always, I will be seeing you.